Welcome to Remote Learning Session 6. Today we're going to be drawing Naruto, a classic anime character. So first I'm going to start with the shape of his face with a curved diagonal line out that way, and we're going to do one curved diagonal line out that way. And when we do that, you want to keep them fairly symmetrical on both sides. So I'm going to extend this line up along the side of his face here, which is going to be his face, and then again on this side up along the side. As we continue, let's move in a little further in from the side of his face and draw a line kind of straight and then angled in, and we're going to do that on the other side as well, straight and then angled in, and that's going to be for the top part of his eye, and underneath that we're just going to indicate a circle on both sides, relatively the same size. Inside that, let's make his pupil a small dot, and then over here in the center of his face we're going to draw two lines facing in each other diagonally for his nose, and then right below that a line across for his mouth. Let's make the line for his headband that goes across his forehead. So right across the top here, we're going to bring it about from one side of his head to the other, and then we're going to indicate the sides of his headband by drawing two lines up. At this point, we can now show where his eyebrows are going to be. So those are going to be two slanted triangle shapes right over his eyes, like that. And now let's also indicate a shadow line for the side of his nose. Coming up to the top here, we're going to draw his hair. So his hair is going to extend out this way with some triangle shapes. And we're just going to go all the way around using these triangle shapes, these zigzag lines. And then as I get on this side, I'm going to kind of direct them toward this way. The points are out. Okay, bringing it back up on both sides. And now I'm going to draw the top line for his headband. And then inside that, he has a detail area on his headband. This is kind of like a trapezoid shape here, upside down trapezoid shape. In the center of that, we're going to show a symbol, which is a slanted line, and then a spiral inside of that with a triangle on this end here. All right, on the ends of that, we're going to draw 3 circles going up the sides to indicate some rivets. And along the side of his face here, triangles for hair. And now the shape for his ear comes right down along the side of his face, little detail line inside. And on this side, again, same thing, curved line around, bring it in, detail line for his ear, and a little curved line inside there. We can also show some zigzag lines right below for some more of his hair that shows there. A line underneath his eyes for the bottom part of his eye, leaving a little space between the circle and this bottom part of his eye, like that. I just want to even out his eyes here a little bit further and darken up the top line just a little. It'll kind of make it stand out and show some shadow area in there. Okay, let's move on to his neck area. So it's going to be 2 lines that extend down from there. And then his collar is going to come around his neck. So we're going to bring a line out and down. And again, same thing on this side, out and down. The inside of the collar is going to kind of curve all the way around and meet it on this side of his neck. This space we can kind of fill in with a little bit of a darker area. That's the shadow that goes behind his neck. And then a curved line along the bottom for the bottom part of his collar. right above the bottom part of his collar, let's draw some lines out for his shoulders on both sides, like that. And down the center of his jacket, we're gonna draw his zipper. So I'm gonna show a trapezoid shape for the top of the zipper, and then 2 lines going all the way down to show the center of his jacket. Okay, let's continue. I'm gonna make some indications for the designs on his jacket. So I'm gonna bring a line right off the center of the zipper down and then kind of back up. It's almost like this triangle shape goes down and then kind of curves back up. Same thing on this side, leaving that space symmetrical to the other side, coming down to about here, triangle shape, and then curve it back to his shoulder. Let's work on the arm over here. I'm gonna open up a space here for, there's kind of a design patch on his sleeve, and bring in this line out for the rest of his sleeve there, and match it on the other side, bringing that line down there. All right, working on the middle part of his jacket, I'll bring the sleeve lines in on both sides, the cuffs for his sleeves. We're not gonna get to see too much of that. Here's the bottom of his jacket. And then lines that come up and through for the inside of his sleeves. Okay, let's start working on the color. Let's start adding some color to our drawing. I'm first gonna start with the skin tone. So I'm gonna use a light peach for this and start to fill in space for his ears and the side of his face and his neck. I'm being very careful not to kind of get on the outlining marker here, because sometimes with the lighter markers that I'm adding color with, they do tend to kind of show or spread that outline line. So I don't really want to do that. So again, just kind of outlining around that space first, so I don't move that color, and then I'll go back and fill in the space. Particularly careful around the eyes. We don't want to get any color inside of that. All right, so now I can just kind of go ahead and fill this in. I left this open here intentionally for some highlight area. All right, let's move on to the color for his hair, which is going to be yellow. And I'm gonna just outline that first. And this part of his hair here. I did forget one part for his skin, his ear on this side. So I'll go ahead and fill that in. And also the hair along the side of his ear. His eyebrows are also yellow. Okay, now I'm going to fill that in with the wider end of the marker here. I'm going to start working on his jacket now. First I'm going to work with a darker color, dark blue. I'm going to outline some of this space. So I'm going to outline these little detail patterns on his jacket. That's going to be this dark blue color. And the patch on his sleeve. And the cuffs for the bottom of his sleeve. And also the bottom of his jacket here, the ridge on the bottom of his jacket, which is all the way at the end of my paper, but I'm going to just fill it in. Then I'm going to use the wider part of the blue marker to kind of fill that in a little better. All right, I'm gonna do actually the inside of his eyes, a light blue color there and here. And I'm also gonna use that dark blue color to color in around his headband and around this detail area. For the rest of this jacket, I'm going to be using orange, which I'm just going to fill in with the broad part of the marker. So I'm starting on the sleeve and just bringing a long, straight marker stroke all the way up, working from the outside in. And the reason why I'm using the broad end of the marker for this is because we've already done the darker area on the jacket. And if I go over the dark area with this particular marker color, it's not really going to show. It might show a little bit, but it's very light. I can always go back and just sharpen up the edge with the darker blue again. So again, going along that zipper, I'm going to do the inside part of his collar, this orange as well. The outside of the collar I'm going to leave white. And we're going to add some more details and shadow areas in a moment too, to kind of really make it interesting and make the character come to life. The shadows on this character is really what kind of make the jacket stand out and the rest of the drawing. This orange and blue combination is really great as well. This complementary colors, which really again work well against each other and make parts of the jacket stand out and really highlight each other as they are against each other. All right, let's work with some detail lines here. Just outline some of these areas, and I'm going to put some folds in his collar. Some detail lines like this, and sharpen up the zipper a little bit there. And the cuffs. Just filling in some space. If I did go out of the line a little bit, that's okay. I can kind of just fix that by going back over it. Again, there's no mistakes here. You can always kind of sharpen something up by going over it again, outlining it here. We'll sharpen this area up by just kind of giving it another outline, going over it again. Adding some more details. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just add some shadow area with a pencil. So I'm going to shadow in the top of his collar. I'm going to shadow in also his neck area below his face. I'm going to shadow some of his hair. Maybe there's a shadow area right here in the middle, shadow area on this side, and maybe just kind of on the sides of each of the tips here, except for the top, the really top part, because we're going to leave that very highlighted. And I'll bring the shadow a little higher. Again, these are just kind of reverse triangle shapes that we're showing here. All right, a little shadow around the edges of the collar, along the middle of his jacket here. It's kind of like a boomerang shape. I'm just going to fill that in. And some shadow along his inside of his sleeve. On both sides. Again, keeping it fairly symmetrical. If you do one thing on one side, you're going to do it on the other side. The light for this is basically coming from the center here. So shadow underneath on his jacket. And on this side. And let's put another shadow coming across this part of his jacket. Maybe there's a big fold in his jacket here. It shows another shadow area right across. Okay, some detail lines here, detail lines in his patch here. So now what I'm going to do is even out the shadows a bit by using my blender marker. And this just works to kind of smooth it out, make it a little bit more even. This is not a necessary step, but it's a step for the marker that I have. Kind of just blends it together, makes the edges a little smoother, and fades in some other areas that maybe I sketched in too quickly. Kind of just brings everything together. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, Naruto, give them a try.